John, is there any chance of a late change to your lineup?
Well, there's always a chance, but unexpected at this stage.
How tough a selection decision was it? John must have been hard telling Jamie Graham that he was out. He's played virtually every game.
Yeah, that's obviously always tough, but there's players in every squad that have stories that resonate through the football club, whether it be Mark Nikoski, who misses an opportunity to play again this year after last year with his broken ankle. But really, the idea is to have your best 22 out there playing, and we're lucky enough to have that.
Why did James get in? John, what was the reasoning behind it?
Well, it's just getting the side picked, the best side we want to take in.
Was it a match-up scenario, or were you looking for some more run as well? Perhaps?
No, it's everything. Yeah, there's no use having more run if you can't match up on the opposition. So, it's just so many different factors that are taken into account.
Is Laura 100% ready to go, John?
Yes. Yep.
Paul, Darren Golly has arrived in Melbourne, but was it his decision not to participate in the parade in the end?
Joint decision. The baby was born at 12:19 last night. I think he got about 4 hours sleep, so he flew in this morning, just go back to the hotel to have a rest up. Probably a joint decision, but just to prepare for tomorrow.
No doubt that he'll be completely fine for tomorrow. We'll be completely switched on after everything that's happened over the past 24 hours. Yeah,
I would have thought so. I mean, it's normally an exciting time, and my experience with guys that normally have children during the season actually gives them a real positive boost. I mean, it's an exciting time for him. The timing's been great for us, obviously, and no, I think it'd be a real positive rather than a negative.
Paul, how much influence do you think coaching has on grand final day? Or is it all up to the players now, pretty much?
I think we've done our job, really. We start training November, and you put all your game plan stuff in pretty much January, February, March, and then we've had 26 weeks to prepare as coaches. Really, not much bearing at all. And I mean, all we're really doing is monitoring probably matchups. Keeping an eye on different players, and at quarter time, half time, and three-quarter time. Just giving you feedback, but we're not going to change anything at this stage of the season, and it's really up to the players now. Go out and try and execute what we want to do.
With the two sides sort of having such a history of knowing each other so well, and just is it possible for someone to pull a rabbit out of the hat with a move or anything like that, and surprise and get a bit of an advantage in any way?
I wouldn't have thought so. I don't know.
I might go full forward, mate.
Leo to full forward. Look, I don't think so. I mean, I think the thing with a grand final is the last thing you want to do is outsmart yourself, and then all of a sudden you pull a move that you think is going to be a great move, you end up losing by 5, and then you look like a goose. So I think both teams have done very well against each other and had wins and losses. So it's just going to come down to the team, I think, that executes for the longest,
Leo, what's the Swans feeling in the room today? Confident, excited? What sort of?
Yeah, it's been a relatively low-key couple of weeks, I think. Last year was certainly a new experience for everyone, and we certainly hadn't many guys that have played in finals footy. This year's a bit different. I think we've only had 4 changes, so the young kids that were brought in have already played a lot of finals footy, and we're quietly confident. It's been a uninterrupted few weeks. We haven't had any injury dramas and no changes, so we're pretty relaxed and looking forward to tomorrow.
What do you think the key has been to your injury run? 2 years in a row you've had no injuries.
Definitely, it's the medical staff are extremely diligent in their review of the playing list and really monitor the list a hell of a lot. Maybe a little bit of luck on the some parts of it, but definitely the monitoring of the player list is really exceptional.
John, you've got about 6 changes in your 22 from last year. Do you think this 22 is maybe better balanced than last year? Is it a better side?
Well, I don't think it's better balanced, because I thought we had a pretty balanced side last year going in. But the key thing is that the guys that we've selected this year, or that are the ones who have done most of the work throughout the year. So last year there was we had to make some changes just before or during the final series, and we haven't had those headaches this year. So it's a bit more settled.
Particularly in the forward line, I guess. I mean, this time last year you had the problems with Lynch and Matera, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so. That's what I'm saying. It's more settled. We haven't had to or been forced to make as many changes.
Chris, do you think last year's disappointment will motivate the guys to get up tomorrow?
No, I've sort of been asked that a few times throughout the week, but I think if you need extra motivation to try and win a grand final, then there's probably something wrong with you. So we're really looking forward to the opportunity we've got tomorrow, and that's we don't need any extra incentive than that.
Chris, do you feel any more added pressure with the captaincy turn as opposed to last year when you weren't the skipper going into the grand final?
No, I mean it's something I've had all year during the year, and I was lucky enough to be part of the leadership group last year. So it's something I'm accustomed to, and as I said, just really looking forward to it.
Do you allow yourself to dream what it'd be like holding up the cup with John?
No, not yet. I think I've been trying to think not too much about the game at all so far during the week, but come tomorrow I'll just be thinking about what I've got to do out there and the role which I need to play within the group.
There's a stronger belief within the West Coast this year, sort of in each other, in the game plan and the whole thing compared to this time last year?
I think it's gotten stronger, but I think we had a strong belief in all that last year as well. But certainly the more experience you get and the more you play with a group of players and the more success I guess you have in winning games of football, that confidence grows, and I think we've got more confidence in each other this time round than we did last year.
Leo, when does it sink in that you're playing in the grand final? Is it immediately after prelim, or do you sort of now or tomorrow?
Personally, I think probably the parade is the start of the whole week, and it's obviously you get huge fans out there supporting and everyone. I think it's a realisation of the importance of the game and such media focus. It's difficult for the next couple of days just to turn TV on and just have a normal day. There's normally a review of the game or analysis, and it's pretty much under the microscope. So definitely from here on in the next couple of days is definitely the start.
What was the backup plan had Johnny not played? Would you brought Ferguson or maybe put Goods into that?
No, I mean we never really thought through it, to be honest, because we didn't really think we had to. I mean you're never absolutely sure what's going to happen in those circumstances, but certainly I hadn't thought through what we'd do if he hadn't been playing, so it hadn't been an issue for us, and thankfully it isn't an issue.
So it was literally just fingers crossed on the issue. There was no contingency at all?
No, not at all. No.
Chris, what's different about Sydney? Why are the games so close and why are the games so tough?
I'm sure I guess both sides are pretty evenly matched, which is the main reason why we've had such close games against them in the past. Sydney play a contested brand of football and a one-on-one style, and so do we, and that probably breeds close games as well.
Paul, do you expect to play the one-on-one style that you've gone with all year, but with Goods in the game earlier, you sort of had a fair bit of space. Do you think you might try to close that up in the grand final?
We know how we play the game, and our players are aware of how we play the game, and they'll go out and stick to what they do well.
John, you said earlier that you always make a late change. What basis would you make a late change tomorrow?
If the player was not fit.
So there are some players that are under that question mark?
No.
So you won't make any late changes?
Probably not.
If you're going next week to the game's tight and you decide to throw 100 forward at some point, who picks up O'Loughlin?
If we decide to throw who?
When you throw 100 forward, who picks up O'Loughlin at that point?
Brett Jones has had a stint on O'Loughlin before, as has Daniel Chick for short stints as well. So we've got those players there that can do that job.
Is there a risk in that selection, given that Jamie has done a job for you all year as a tall defender?
No, we don't think there's any risk in the side that we've picked. No.
Paul, do you make a contingency plan for a late change, or do you just adjust on the day if it happens?
Sorry.
Do you have a contingency plan in case the opposition make a late change, or do you just adjust on the day?
I think John's a pretty honest sort of fella. I don't think there'll be any changes. So I don't think he'll ring me if there is. So I wouldn't have thought so. I think our team's reasonably settled, and I think obviously David Wirrapunda's in their best 18 and probably better than that. I don't know, where they rank him, but I mean we expect him to play, and obviously young fella's unlucky to miss out. But I mean we're always looking at the opposition, and when we do our match committee, I suppose we probably came up with, he may have been the one that would have missed out. So I'd expect them to line up. If they don't, outside won't change.
Hey Paul, is Tony McGinnis going to be in the box with you tomorrow?
No, I don't know. Someone chucked that up to me yesterday, but I don't know.
So that's not happening?
No, I had lunch with him last Saturday, so no, he won't be in the box unless he sneaks in. and then we'll get him out quick smart.
Tell us about the pressures of playing fullback in the big game and also what you have to do to sort of play a guy like in form forward in the bench.
Yeah, it's can be pretty unforgiving playing fullback. Any mistake, you can easily get a goal kicked on you. I've been basically playing it for the last few years, and you certainly develop a bit of a steely resolve after you do get goals kicked on you. You just got to keep persisting. Quinton Lynch has shown this year he's kicked over 60 goals, and for any forward to do that, they've certainly got to be doing something right. And he's definitely probably the area they've improved on with West Coast and their structure, and he certainly straightens them up. And he's really holding on to his mark. He's booming kick, and can definitely give him that spark up forward. So he's one of the keys for them, definitely in the grand final, and one of the players we'll certainly have to look out for.
How many times since last year have you seen your mark?
Which one's that, mate? It's been I talk about it a hell of a lot, and it's one of those things that'll go down and always talk about it. So certainly it was a fantastic day, and hopefully don't have to do it again, but the result's the same.
You'd be hoping for a less stress-free ending, wouldn't you?
Well, playing full back, definitely. She got a bit nervous in that last 3 or 4 minutes.
Does the nature of the Sydney West Coast contest, which generally really close and really ways to go, just add to the pressure on the defenders? Just one mistake could change the game.
Yeah, it's even the qualifying final, West Coast were up, and the ball was still flying down into their forward line. And to our defenders' credit, we really showed a lot of composure, and we're still able to move the ball really well. And then Mick O'Loughlin was able to keep the goal with a couple of minutes to go. So when you do play in those pressure games, you do develop a lot more composure, and our defensive unit's been really good all year in that respect, and hopefully it's going to be another key feature of our game tomorrow.
Well, do you wish that there were more teams in the AFL that played one-on-one? I mean, do you really get a lot of enjoyment out of these games at the West Coast because of that nature of it?
Well, I enjoy watching West Coast play. I love the way they play because they do play contested footy, and I think that's what we all grew up being taught, to win the ball and probably change the rules a little bit to go away, perhaps a little bit from protecting the guy going for the football. But, I think West Coast, when I watch them play, they've got great ball winners, and they always go and win the ball, and they're always a lot of one-on-one contests, and that's the traditional way we all grew up with footy. So I certainly enjoy watching them play.
There's a lot of argument last year about the sort of the aesthetics of the game. But what would be your advice to someone, say a neutral supporter, just something to watch in this game to really get an appreciation of what it is that these two teams bring to a football game?
Well, I don't think you're going to see circle work, and I think football is about making tackles and about physical. I mean, some of the games I went and watched this year, I can't remember too many tackles, and it was like going and watching a 400-metre relay at the Olympics, And, for me, footy is about the contest and making tackles and no free players all over the ground. And, and I think that's what you're going to see tomorrow, and that's what you've seen in the previous games between the sides. Great one-on-one contests all over the ground, and that's, I think it's going to be a terrific game.
Last 2 questions, everybody.
Just going to ask John the same question. Do you have any views on that?
No, pretty much go along with what Paul's saying. I think, last year's grand final was a low-scoring game, but people loved the contest and talked about the contest, and we've had some great clashes with Sydney since. So, there certainly are, I believe, great games to watch.
Given the recent history, do you think it could go on to be one of the great rivalries in seasons to come?
That's a bit of an unknown. I mean, it's been a great rivalry for a couple of seasons now, but hopefully it can be, because that means we're both up the top for years to come, and that's where you'd like to be, and that's what creates rivalries. Two teams that finish high up on the ladder consistently over a long period of time, and we'd certainly like to be part of that.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So the time for talking is just about over. As they say in the classics, it's almost time for fighting. And at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon Eastern Time at the MCG, West Coast and Sydney will vie to get their hands on that piece of silverware there.
dice for the Swans. Bolton puts it inside 50. There it is again. Was jolly. And there it is. The Eagles are through to the preliminary final. But I'll tell you what, only just in the end. What a game of finals football. Heads along the boundary line. Oh, good mark by Cox. Cox throws it onto the left. One last roll of the dice for the Eagles. Leo Barry, you star! Bob Murray, reincarnate. The longest premiership drought in football history is over. For the first time in 72 years, the Swans are champions of the AFL. Roberts Thompson is the man who swats it inside 50. Phillips is there for Sydney. What an incredible game of Australian rules football. Cousins can't break. O'Keefe for Sydney. Glass and Hall at it again as they have been all night. The Swans have done it again. They have won a magnificent victory on hostile territory.
The last 4 matches between these two outstanding teams have been decided by less than a kick, and there is nothing to suggest that tomorrow will be any different. It's the grand final that most people want to see, the rematch between the Eagles and the Swans. Hello, Matthew Campbell in the chair tonight, and I'll be joined as usual by Mike Sheehan and Nathan Buckley to discuss whether the West Coast Eagles could exact some revenge or whether the Swans will go back-to-back. Plus, being the final program, we'll look ahead to next season. But for the final time here on White Line Fever, it's news time, and we say good evening to Tiffany Cherry, coming to us from the MVP Awards. Good evening, Tiff.
Thank you, Matty. Well, we already know who the umpires think was the best player for 2006, but who do the players themselves think was the standout for this year? We will find out soon enough. But first, to the main news of the day, and with less than 24 hours to go before the AFL Grand Final, there is still mystery surrounding the West Coast Eagles Final 22. Showing every precaution, the Eagles squad of 25 trained on the MCG this afternoon, with the concern still surrounding Daniel Kerr after he left the session early.
While the Swans took the opportunity to have the afternoon off, the Eagles took the chance to have a final tune-up on the MCG on the eve of the big clash. And it was a crucial hour-long session, with David Wirapunda needing to prove one last time he was over his hamstring worry. He did it comfortably, but the big worry remains Daniel Kerr. He cut a lonely figure as he trained away from the main group, and everything he did do was very scratchy, well short of his usual silky smooth best. The give-up he's still nursing an Achilles problem in his right foot was evident when he finally tried to kick on his right foot, the effect obvious for all to see. But despite missing training on Wednesday and now this latest concern, the Eagles still want him to play even though he won't be at his best. Now that doesn't mean there won't be a late change. However, the Eagles aren't about to say too much so close to the first bounce.
Well, there's always a chance, but unexpected at this stage.
Emergencies, Jamie Graham, Brent Staker and Matt Rosa all trained and are all on standby. But whatever the case, Sydney isn't too concerned about the possible selection dramas in the opposition camp.
I think John's a pretty honest sort of fellow. I don't think there'll be any changes. So I don't think he'll ring me if there is. So I wouldn't have thought so.
Graham remains the interesting one in the Eagles squad. He played all 22 home and away games and has been left out of the most important game of all. He could still be in Worsfold's plans, but there doesn't appear to be any sentiment in the Eagles selection policy.
That's obviously always tough, but there's players in every squad that have stories that resonate through the football club.
Sydney's finals build-up has been seamless, except for the minor speed bump of Darren Jolly rushing down the morning after his teammates following the birth of his first child. But he's now with the team and it's all systems go, and typically without any fuss.
I know I'm a dad now, and I know I've got a beautiful wife and a daughter back waiting for me, so I'm going to go, walk out on the ground on Saturday, very, very happy.
My experience with guys that normally have children during the season actually gives them a real positive boost. I mean, it's an exciting time for him. The timing's been great for us, obviously, and no, I think it'd be a real positive rather than a negative.
Footy starved, and even though both grand final teams are non-Victorians, Melbourne still came alive today with 100,000 fans lining the streets of the city to cheer on their heroes. And even though both the Swans and the Eagles went through it all last year, they were still blown away by the big crowd.
Fans grabbed every vantage point possible to catch a glimpse of the game's superstars. It's been a big week for Adam Goodes, Brownlow number 2 on Monday, and he hopes a second premiership medallion tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been great. It's just good to be finally getting to Friday, really. We finished the parade today, and then we just get back into the hotel, lock ourselves in there, and get down to the routine that we normally would go through.
The Eagles ditched their security guards, their skipper telling fans they're still loved.
We do appreciate it. Obviously, last night at the airport it was a bit chaotic, so we had some security there, but we very much appreciate all the support we get.
And the fans love them back.
We had a lot of preparation because we had hard job getting tickets, and we finished up. We've got standing room only, and we're paying through the nose for it, but we're happy to be here.
The old South Melbourne faithful and the new breed of Swans supporters have their fingers crossed for back-to-back flags.
I've followed them for 60 years, my love, so you know what the red and white mean to me.
Just bring back memories from last year, and let's hope we can go back-to-back. It's just a phenomenal effort for the team to get there 2 years in a row. My little boy saw it last year as a 6-month, and now he's 18 months old, so it's just fantastic.
It's times like this Nick Davis is glad to be one of the Bloods. On the outer mid-season, the Gold Sneak feels lucky to be back in the fold.
When I was struggling a little bit this year, these were the things that drove me to get back. I knew we had a good team, and to miss out on this opportunity would have been disappointing.
While these two teams played off in last year's grand final, not everyone's used to the hype surrounding the parade. Both the Swans and the Eagles have grand final rookies who just can't wait for the game to get underway.
Since we landed last night, with 2 interstate teams, I can't believe how full on it is down here.
Yeah, it's quite a surreal feeling, all these people here. Just try not to let it get to me too much, got a job to do, and have it on the G today, and then hopefully have a good win tomorrow.
And this is what they've all been waiting for.